Welcome to episode 1 of the e-commerce marketing and optimization podcast. I'm your host, Brendan, and in this episode, I'm talking with my good friend, John Mcintyre, the autoresponder guy. And the reason why I wanted to get him on first is because with almost every client I work with, every e-commerce business I see, email marketing is almost always underdone, not done at all, or done very poorly. So in this episode, we cover a whole bunch of topics around email marketing and lifecycle marketing, and John's new company, Reengager.com, which specializes in email marketing for e-commerce businesses. So by the end of this episode, I hope you're excited about email marketing. There's a huge amount of potential here, particularly for bigger businesses. Basically, the bigger you are, the bigger the opportunity is. So once you've had a listen, make sure you head over to John's website at reengager.com. So that's RENGAGER.com. And try out his email marketing ROI Calculator. He also has a Facebook group dedicated to e-commerce email marketing, so check that out as well. All the links from this episode will be on our website at paretoecommerce.com/email. Alrighty, let's get into the show.
You're listening to the E-commerce Marketing and Optimization Podcast, the show where we help you grow your six-figure e-commerce business to seven figures and seven-figure e-commerce business to eight figures and beyond. If you want to learn more about how we can help you in your business, go to paretoecommerce.com.
Okay, episode 1 of the e-commerce optimization and marketing podcast from Pareto E-commerce. I've got Mr. Email Marketing himself on the line, John Mcintyre from Reengager.com. How you going, John?
I'm doing good, Brandon. How you doing?
Good. Hey, so I wanted to get you on for episode 1 to talk about email marketing, largely because it's very much underdone in the e-commerce space, which is a shame because for most e-commerce businesses who are doing it properly and have a proper email marketing strategy, it's usually the clients we work with, one of their top 3 best performing marketing channels. So I figured it would be a good topic to kick off the podcast with on episode 1.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how big of a channel email marketing can be, but how most stores don't even do it, let alone the ones that do it, they're usually doing it badly.
Yeah, I see that a lot with particularly the more small businessy clients we work with. They mimic big brands a lot, and big brands tend not to do email marketing very well either, which is interesting. So you've got a new brand. So you've been in the email marketing space for several years now, but you have a new-ish brand that focuses solely on email marketing for online retailers, yeah?
Correct, yeah. I've been doing email marketing for 3 years, 4 years, something like that. And just earlier this year, realized that there was a need for e-commerce to, just set up email marketing campaigns. Everything from, what I've been doing is working with all sorts of different businesses, which is great, but it's, there's a number of challenges that come with that. And this way, it's, I can keep things a lot simpler. It's one client, it's one type of product that we're really helping them with, one type of thing, email marketing for e-commerce. And they're all the same. So now it's, we've launched Reengager and got a few clients on now, and it's just all 100%. It's just email. We don't do ads. We don't do optimization. It's just email.
Yeah. And the beauty about doing email marketing for e-commerce business is that it's really, really easy to track the ROI. It's really easy to open up an analytics report and say, well, here's the traffic sources and here's the revenue they generated. So, if you have, say, if you're an e-commerce business and you do 3 months of email marketing focused solely on improving that, it's really easy to say, well, look, it's generated like 800% increase, in revenue on these channels or whatever it is. It's really clear to see the ROI on the spend on email marketing. And from, I guess one of the other benefits, right, is it's not a channel that you have to pay a lot of money for, like, Google Shopping or AdWords, for example.
Yeah, it's aside from the expertise that you need, which you can, develop yourself or hire someone else to do, sending an email is pretty cheap, depending on the size of the database. And yeah, like you said, the ROI side of it, the way you can measure pretty much everything, where, from, there's a platform called Klaviyo where you can send an email about a blog post that you just wrote. But if people click through that blog post and then go buy, that email will tell you how much money you made from that specific email. And so there's this amazing, ability to know what's working, where it's working, all that sort of stuff, more than almost any other channel.
Yeah. And I see here, I'm just looking at the Reengager site right now. So there's a stat on here, the average return on average on email marketing, it's $44.25, which is pretty amazing.
It's crazy, right? It's when I first heard that, I really couldn't believe it. But this is from a Direct Marketing Association study done, I think it was a couple of years ago now, so it may have changed. I think I saw a more recent one where it dropped a little bit, but the interesting thing about it was how that compared to everything else. And in that study, email was $44.25. The next best thing, I think, was search, down at $20 per dollar spent. And then the next thing was social media, down at $10 per dollar spent, which is actually really funny because I was on a site the other day looking at some pop-ups, we're putting together a blog post right now. And in the pop-up, it said, well, here's a coupon for free shipping or something like that. And then it had a link to 6 of their different social profiles. There was no email capture or email sign-up. This store, for some strange reason, seemed to think that putting a link to their Pinterest profile in their pop-up was more valuable than getting someone's email address, which I think to me, like, guys like Gary Vaynerchuk and sort of these gurus out there that go on about social media. Social media is great, but right now it cannot compete with email. Yeah,
I mean, that's one thing that I talk about with clients as well, that there's so much focus on social media and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and doing more there that they forget about email. And we always say email marketing before social, because effectively to be on these platforms, you need an email address anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And also, you see a lot of stats bandied around that, people spend on an active Facebook user spends 30 minutes a day on the platform. Like, the majority of people are spending a lot more than 30 minutes a day, particularly people in the business space or people with money to spend. They're probably spending way more time in their inbox than on social media platforms as well. So, there's
100%.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because you look at it, like, when people are on Facebook, typically we're using Facebook to waste time. Like, we're going on there because we want a dopamine hit, we're distracted, we want to kind of take a break from our work. We don't want to go and buy shit. And so, whereas, in the email, you can start targeting. You can look at, one example is if you have enough data, enough volume going through the store, you can look at when purchase spikes during the day. Maybe, if you've got an Australian store, for example, you might find that most people like to purchasing spikes around 3 p.m. most days. 3 to 4 p.m. So what you do is you time your email sends to go out at about 2 p.m. because what happens is the majority of the opens for an email usually come within the first few hours after it gets sent. So then you start timing your emails based on when people like to purchase, and you get there's a lot more targeting ability in there. And when people open their emails, they're usually looking for stuff to do.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Interesting. That's a good tactic. I hadn't thought of that. And that's really easy to see in Google Analytics as well. You can just go in and see the time of day of purchase and get a breakdown, and it probably takes 60 seconds to do that. So really simple. And email marketing, let's get into some details. So when we're talking about email marketing, we're talking about more than just a monthly blast out to your list, right?
Yeah, so that's what most people, I think, seem to think. A lot of companies think email marketing is just like, we send a newsletter already. What else can we really do? But there's so much, and you've got a lot on the manual side of it, which is, if you're already doing newsletters, how much, how segmented are those? How, they've been tested? Have you optimized them? Have you figured out when the best time is to send them? All that sort of stuff. There's all of that to do. But on the other side, you've got all the automated campaigns, and this starts with, for example, your shipping and order confirmations, which are going out anyway. And because they're transactional by nature, they typically don't sell anything. They get the highest open rates and the highest click rates of any emails a company is going to send. So usually, open rates are 70, 80, 90% on these emails, which means they're a great place to advertise products. Mm-hmm. So the idea there is you can optimize, that's considered a trigger point. You can optimize that trigger by, optimizing those emails and putting in, you can mention your affiliate program, you can mention related products, and that's just one. But then you've got cart abandonment, for example. A lot of companies will know that. But if the ones that do it usually only have one email. It's usually the default Shopify email or whatever platform they're running on, which is, I think, terrible. Then you've got like a welcome email or a welcome campaign, which there's a lot of value in that. Here's what's interesting. When I was doing some research on this for a post recently, the welcome campaign, where is this? Syria. 74.4% of consumers expect a welcome email when they subscribe. And 33 subscribers who receive a welcome email show, on average, 33% more long-term engagement. And welcome emails generate 4 times the open rates, 5 times the click rates of like standard bulk newsletter promotions. And in the end, welcome emails see more than 3 times the transactions and revenue per email over regular promotional emails. So this is like one email, or you can make it a couple of different emails, but someone signs up to the list, they sign up via the pop-up that says get 10% off, and you send them an email, you send them 2 or 3 emails, and there's a ton of value in that, but almost no one, there's some bigger companies or more sophisticated companies that are doing it, but there's a lot of companies out there that don't do that. So, and there's just more and more of these different trigger points. You welcome email, then you got your nurturing, you're nurturing subscribers with content, with different things. You've got new customers, repeat customers. You got people who need to reorder because their supplements or vitamins ran out after 30 days. Re-engagement campaigns, so when people stop opening and clicking emails. There's basically just a variety of different triggers, and you can, you want to create campaigns for each of those triggers. It's all automated so that when someone signs up or when someone buys something, they go into this, I've heard one person call it, email marketing maze, where they're just getting sent from like one campaign to another, and it's all, you build it. It's relatively straightforward to build, but every subscriber could take a custom path through that based on their behavior and the way they interact with your company.
And the beauty about this, right, it's automated. Once you set it up, it runs in the background, and sure, it's going to need some maintenance, but it's going to take some work to get it up and running. You work with someone like you to get it tailor-made to your business, but then it just sits there. Like things like the welcome email, you do it once and it might need an update once or twice a year, and you're sweet, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part, is because you can set some of this stuff out, like cart abandonment email properly done. So we're not talking like a default basic version, but like a properly executed cart abandonment email is usually going to increase the revenue by 5 to 15%. Depends on the store. This case study is sort of at the lower end, the higher end of that. And so, but once that's set up, you can go and hire someone to do that. You can do it yourself. That's just going to go on generating that lift in revenue forever. Yeah,
that's the thing. You think about it. If someone listening to this right now they're not doing abandoned cart emails right now, then that means that they're basically losing. Let's say when you add a cart abandonment email in, it boosts revenue by 15%. So if you're not doing it right now, they're effectively losing 15% of their revenue. So yeah, absolutely crazy, huh?
Exactly. And then when you look at it like all these other campaigns, you put them all together and they sort of, send people back and forth between them in this, email marketing maze. They don't all increase it by 15%, so you get this exponential thing of like 400. It doesn't work like that, but I think like they all bring value to the table. So someone, cart abandonment increases your conversion rate, your new and repeat customer campaigns, increase reorder amounts, your re-engagement keeps people like staying in the funnel, staying in opening emails, all of that. And so we're adding percentage points here and there and, everywhere. And so, at the end of the day, you're looking at 20, 30, 40% increase in overall revenue when you implement everything. And for a small store doing $1 or $2 million a year, that's $400,000. It could be $400,000.
And you're not just talking about blasting them with discounts, right?
That's really interesting.
It's just like the default approach that many people take.
Yeah, it's just I already send another discount. I think discounts are they have value in the sense of there's a time and a place. But I think partly it depends on the market that you're in. If you're in like a commoditized market where everyone's trying to have the cheapest price, discounts are probably one of your best bets. But hopefully you're not like that, because it's just you don't really want to be in a market like that. And discounts, I think just we've talked about this before. It's like discount devalues the product. And I think you've got this analogy of it's sort of like you go into a shop, you're like, no, I don't really want that, and the shopkeeper runs out the front of the store and he's like, I'll give you 10% off. And then you walk a little bit further, and it's like 15% off. You walk a little bit further, it's like 20% off. And it can feel a bit like that with stores sometimes. It's like, just, chill out. And so there's some other alternatives to that. You got free shipping. You've got bundle offers where you say, like, we'll do, order at least $50 and we'll throw in like a black tea. I saw that with a company recently. Or you can do discounts where it's like, look, we'll give you 10% off, but you have to order $120. Because you could work out a way there where you're adding the discount in, but because you're making people buy more stuff, it works out better in the long run anyway. I think the main thing is to understand there's a lot of different ways to sell stuff than just discounts. Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways to add value as well, like and build an ongoing relationship with the customer too. There's a lot of things they might not know about the product or complementary services or products you sell or things that they should know that they might forget about the product or maintenance and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because I'm just looking at your website now. So you've got, on the homepage, you've got 12 different, types of emails that you can send. There's probably 100 more, but that's a good place to start if someone's wondering what sort of emails they can send in their business or what's appropriate for their business, right?
Yeah, that'll be a good sort of just list to go through.
Nice checklist.
There's a Shopify blog post we did. I got another one coming up soon on Digital Marketer, which is going to have even more campaigns. I mean, it's really I think the easy way to think about it is like you've got, and today, the technology is very cheap just because technology is becoming, I think, increasingly commoditized. There's just a variety of different triggers within any business app, any online business. So think about like events. Anytime if someone adds something to the cart and then leaves the website without buying, that's an event that you can track with, tracking software. So anything that you can track as an event like that, you can use to trigger some kind of email campaign. And so every event is usually like a leverage point where if you set up a few emails to go out, you're going to bring back, it might be 15% like the cart abandonment, or it might only be like 2%. But if you do 2% across like 10 different things, it's not 20%, it's 24 or something, because you get that exponential, like it's 2% of 2% of 2% of 2%. So it's very interesting how this works. So yeah, I think, think about like triggers, 5, 10, 20, 15 different triggers. Actually, one way, what I'll do, I'll bring up this digital marketing guest post because there's an image that we're using, and the way we're breaking it down, I think this makes it really easy to understand. So the outline of the system is you can break it down in terms of, you might have heard of like middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, which is one way people talk about understanding funnels. So with email, you can think about it in terms of interested but haven't bought anything yet, engaged in the sense that they've bought something now, and then lapsed, as in that they haven't bought within a certain amount of time. I haven't opened, they haven't done anything for a while. So interested, the goal of each stage is different. The goal of the interested stage is to get them to make a purchase for the first time. The goal of the engaged stage is, number one, to keep them engaged, and two, to make them buy again and again and again and again. And then lapsed is they've disengaged, they're not opening emails, they're not buying, and so we have different campaigns there. The goal is to get them to re-engage. So in each step there, we've got different campaigns. So for the interested, step one, the goal is to get them to make their first purchase. You've got your welcome campaign, a lead nurture campaign, and all sorts of promotions you can run for the first purchase. It could be discounts, could be other stuff. You've got the engaged stage. So let's say they've bought something, and now we want to keep them buying and keep them engaged as well so they buy in the long term. You've got transactional emails, cart abandonment, new customers, repeat customers, renewals and reorders, service alerts. So all of these are like, there's a lot of reasons you can email people, and every time you email them is an excuse to put like a photo of a product that they might want to buy. So you've got like service alerts, like here's an update about our company, upcoming events if you're running events, special promotions. So special promotions is interesting because you can do this with, special promotions and reward programs. Special promotions is sort of like the thing you could say, send an email to, go into your email software and say, show me all the customers that have spent over $100 in the last 6 months. Brings up, say, 20% of your database, and then you create a special promotion that's just for them. So you go and find your high-value customers, and you create a special promotion just for them. I think there's a lot of value in that. You've got reward programs, so you could have a points program or something like that, where you get a certain amount of points per purchase, win back for occasional, so people aren't buying, like maybe they've only bought once in the last 6 months, send them a promotion. Page triggers, so someone visits a page, send them an email. Birthdays, pretty simple. Retention's more or less just content and keeping them engaged. And lapsed is just your two triggers there are like haven't bought within X days or haven't opened or clicked in X days, 5, 10, 30, 60 days, something like that. And you can have all, emails that go out to them from stuff where you say, oh, we're going to unsubscribe you if you don't open an email. Or you can say, well, look, we notice you aren't opening emails. Can you fill out this survey and tell us why? Or can you hit reply? Or you can send them a promotion from the get, just straight out. So it's like thinking about it that way. There's 3 different stages and then creating campaigns for each step in that stage.
Yep. Wow. Okay. So there's a lot there. Is there a particular tool that you like to use? Is there something you'd recommend that? Because some of those things, I guess MailChimp is like the entry level point, and it's a lot more powerful than it used to be. But there are, I think you mentioned Klaviyo. There are specific tools for e-commerce, right?
Yeah. We advise every person we speak to, even if we don't work with them, we tell them to sign up to Klaviyo. Because so far, I haven't seen anything that's up to their standard for their price. Because you can go sign up to something like, I think, Bronto. But Bronto it's like an enterprise level system. It powers, I think, the majority of the top 1,000 internet retailers. And the pricing is it's out of the range of most businesses. So Klaviyo is good. They power a lot of bigger businesses too. But you've got pricing that's really suitable for smaller businesses. And they do all the stuff that we're talking about here.
Awesome. Yeah. It's important there that the tool is able to do these things because you're not going to be able to do a lot of that stuff with just a vanilla Aweber or MailChimp, right?
No, you shouldn't. Here's the other thing, right? Don't sign up to Infusionsoft, don't use Entreport, don't use Aweber or MailChimp. I think, some Constant Contact, all those ones, they can work, but they're just too basic. Yeah. Infusionsoft, I think is oversold and overvalued, especially with e-commerce.
Well, don't get me started. I have 2 Infusionsofts, 2 different businesses, and we're moving away. So...
Another one that I just heard a friend of mine's going on about is Autopilot.
Autopilot? Not Office Autopilot?
No, not Office Autopilot. It's Autopilot HQ, I think. And It's not really for e-commerce, so I don't know how relevant it is for this, but I don't think it's for e-commerce. But it looks like a much better version of Infusionsoft. There's a drag and drop editor. There's a lot of stuff you can do where my friend's syncing it up with his site where he's got a membership area, and he can track his users when they log into the membership area and send them a pop-up on like the bottom right-hand side of the screen that says, you haven't visited this page yet, go check this out.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of it's a lot more than just an email platform. It looks like it's really well put together. It's easy to use. There's drag and drop. It's, great UI. So that's something to think about. I don't know, maybe it is for, maybe it will work for e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure.
It's interesting. I'll check it out. So, for someone who's listening to this, right, I'd hope that everybody is convinced that email marketing is a strategy that should be in their overall marketing arsenal. But you have an ROI calculator on your website, which is probably the first place people should look if they're interested in digging deeper on this stuff, right?
Yeah. The ROI calculator, that'll take you through, you plug in some details, and that'll give you sort of a rough prediction on what sort of revenue and profit you can expect. But there's an aggressive estimate and a conservative estimate, just to give you a range there. And it's impossible to give you an exact figure. But that's at reengager.com/ROI. And it takes you can do it in like 2 or 3 minutes. And you'll go through and
Cool. Awesome. And what else? You've got a Facebook group as well that's pretty active with e-commerce people who are interested in email marketing too, right?
Yeah, so there's the best thing to do is you'll find everything on reengager.com. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a resources column or section, and you can check out, there's a few blog posts that we're starting to put up now. There's a recent one on email promotions we just did. There's a couple of white papers. You got the ROI calculator and the private Facebook group. So everything's down there. That's probably the easiest place to do it because it's just all in one place. You can click and search around. And another thing you can do if you want is that there's a media page, which we just did a week or two ago, which if you click all those, as seen on logos, that'll take you to the media page. And there must be 40 or 50 different email marketing podcasts like this one. This one will probably be on this page actually when it goes live. They're all there. So you can, if you want to listen to more podcasts about it too, you can just go onto the media page. That's reengager.com/media and just, there's like 50 different interviews all over the internet.
I'm looking at them now. There's a lot there. Cool.
Yeah. So,
Awesome. That's cool. So I think that's pretty much it. Anything else that people should know? Any other advice you have for people who are thinking about going down this path?
The main thing is just to, people ask me this at the end of podcasts, and it's always like, just go and do it. It's not so much about perfection, but a lot of business owners, it's easy to, I just want to get it off my table. It's not really their focus right now. But the best thing they could do if they don't have the time to get on the phone with me or get on the phone with someone, some kind of agency that can help you do this, and get it handed off, because it's money that you're, in one sense, losing every single month. So the sooner you get the process started, the sooner you can start, capturing some of that revenue, because you can't go back in time and capture the last 6 months worth of revenue there. Or the other thing to do is go grab, say, if you've got someone on the team who can do it, because that's the other alternative. And that's what I'm doing with this post with digital marketing right now. You could probably send them to the Shopify post. Send that to your employee, or maybe you got an internet marketing consultant, you're working with someone, and they could go through a few different blog posts that we've created, and they could put together, I'd say, probably a decent plan. Mm-hmm. And at the very least, they can get it started themselves. And like I said, start getting it going today, and then you can optimize it over time. So. Yeah.
Awesome advice. I think that's spot on. Alrighty. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
No worries, dude.
Having you on, and there's some awesome
always good
things
to chat.
People to check out. I think that ROI calculator is an awesome place to get started, particularly if you're not convinced. So, it'll show you the raw numbers, the napkin maths, and then hopefully that's enough to get you over the line if you're sitting on the fence, I think.
Yeah, cool, 100%. Cool, dude.
All right. We'll catch you next time, hey?
Yeah, sounds good, brother.
Sweet. Thanks, mate. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the E-commerce Marketing and Optimization Podcast. If you want the latest e-commerce tips, tactics, and strategies, make sure to join our mailing list at ParetoEcommerce.com.